Hi guys, so this week this is our final tutorial and it should be relatively easy. So what we're going to do is load up our resampled images that we completed in the previous week, and you should have about 2 or 3 of them. So in my situation it's this one, sorry, it's actually this one and this one. Okay, so we open up our resample data. And that just takes a second to load. Okay, so once the images are loaded, we're going to conduct our biophysical analysis. Okay, so biophysical analysis, we are looking at the optical tab, and under the optical tab, you're going to thematic land processing. From there, you go into biophysical processor, and we select biophysical processor Sentinel-2 at 10-meter resolution. Now just make sure that the right file is in there, which is, it should be one of your resampled images, preferably the one in the earlier date, and mine is here. Okay, and just double click it. Okay, and then click run. Okay, because I'd already previously done this, it's just telling me there's an existing file. So we're just going to overwrite that. So we click OK to that. Now that should have added our biophysical data. So you see this new item in our product explorer, this new image. So we click on the arrow to expand down, and we go to bands. And you can see that we have some different variables. Okay, so we have LAI, FPAR, FCover. So to display it, you just right click on it. Okay, and then we go to our color manipulation, and we will choose whatever color you think gradient. You can play around with them, and you can find out which one you like best. Okay, so you can see areas with higher area leaf area indexes are greener, and areas with lower indexes are bluer. Okay, so you can see leaf area indexes with high values down here. Now that's all well and good, but we want to do that for both images. So just repeat the initial step. So we're going to go to optical. We're going to go to thematic land processing, biophysical processor, S210. And again, this time we just want to make sure the right image is selected. So in this situation, my first one was in April, which is the resampled one. And now we want to make sure the next one is in November here. Okay. Let's just make sure. Well, yeah, so we'll use the November image and see what happens. So once we select this, we then click run. And again, we should get an image added to our product explorer here on the left hand side. So go into it by clicking on the plus arrow, which should give you some other options like metadata, flag coloring, vector data, bands. So expand the bands and then click onto your FAI, okay, sorry, your LAI, leaf area index. So the next part of this is again the same as before. We want to just choose a color scheme, and we'll choose the same one because it makes sense. So we can see sort of greater variation between these two images. So if you compare them together, there is different values in general. Now we're going to want to see how this is changing over time. So one way we can do that is just by putting down some random pins. Okay, and once we have these areas down, we can now do a time series. So click in your search box, time series. Okay, and double click on that, and it should open up this tab on the bottom left hand of your screen. So click on time series, and now click on your settings tab. So we only want to add the bands that are of interest to us. So again, to do that, we just need to find the ones that say biophysical 10 meters, which are this one and this one. So we just click OK. Okay, now we need to filter them because there are a number of different variables for us to look at. So just click OK to that. Now we've selected these pins as the areas we want to see how things are changing. So in order for that to show up on our graph, we need to click on this icon here. Okay, and sometimes this just causes a little problem, so we'll just fix this. So if you just give it a little bit of time, usually the correct data will show up. So you can see by and large that from the points that we're looking at, leaf area index has increased between April and November. And that sort of makes sense. The start of the growing season begins in April, and the end of the growing season happens around the end of October or September. So this makes sense to see that it's increasing sort of across the board. Now it's obviously better to have more points there. So hopefully you have a few more images in which to do this. Now the next component of this is we need to start exporting images. Okay, we need to start being able to use these images in our poster, which is what the assignment is for. So firstly, to do that, well, you can download this graph, this image, just by clicking down on this export graph to file. And it's fine to save it as a PNG. Just click save. Maybe change the name of it to something that is sensible to you. Something like LAI time series. Click save. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to repeat this process for all of the variables that are there. So remember, just make this again. So we will go back to our biophysical variables. We will, so we'll go back to our filter, okay, and we'll unselect this, and we'll select FPAR, okay. And again, that'll upload, and again, you can see it increasing across the board. And the same thing, and you're going to want to export that image, and then you're going to want to go into your F cover, okay. And you can see that stays relatively stable. And again, you want to export that image, okay. So that's what you want to do in terms of your analysis, and you should have 4 variables. We covered NDVI in the previous lecture, so you're going to want to show the graph for NDVI, for LAI, which is your leaf area index, for FAPAR, and for your F cover. Okay, so these are all the variables you're going to want to do. Now it's going to be up to you to research what these variables are and what it means. All right, so that's why I'm not really covering it here at the moment. So that's part of the assignments. Now you're also going to want to use the images themselves. Okay, so in order for you to copy the image into your poster, you first off display it on the screen. So let's take our first image. Okay, and that's in RGB, and that's the subset. So the next thing to do is export view as image. And again, you can save that as a PNG, and you might say whatever your site location is, Wicklow, April 2020, and click save. Okay, and that exports that. And you should do the same for all of your images. Okay, so again, you're going to want to have an image for NDVI, LAI, FPAR, F cover. So you should have 2 each of those images, or 1 for each image that you conduct the analysis on. So in my case, I only have images for April and November. Well, you might have images in April, June, November, December, whatever. You need to have images for each of those files. So again, just right click on your image, export view as image, and you can export it there. So that sort of completes everything that we want to do in terms of our tutorials. Any issues you have, we can talk about in class, and I will have your brief for you for the class on Thursday morning. I hope that's clear, and if you have any questions, just send me an email. Thank you.